Good morning, game makers. Today's video is going to be a little bit longer. There's a lot I want to get done. I do want to let you know that on Friday, we're going to have a quiz. I will post it online. It's multiple choice, and you'll know instantly how you do. I think I have it set up. So if you get the correct answer, you get the positive feedback. And if unfortunately you answered incorrectly, it will hopefully explain why that answer was incorrect. So right here is everything that's going to be on the quiz. So take a look. I suggest that you take notes because that's going to make the quiz go super fast and give you the best chance for success. You are allowed to go back and watch videos and do whatever you need to do because ultimately I want you to be able to access the answer even if you don't have it memorized. So there's a lot I want to do today. So I'm going to get right to it. Yesterday in my game, I had it set up so I could move left to right. And then I asked you, what would I do if I wanted to be able to move up and down? So I'm just going to go over that. So you can see that I've added some events here. When I hold the key down, you can see that the first thing GameMaker is going to do is check the Y variable. Y is the up and down axis. You've probably seen it in math. And so those of you who are taking this for a math credit, there you go. Y is the up and down uh, axis or the position in the room. And if Y is less than room height minus 49, and the reason I set that up is so that when the center of my plane is 49 pixels from the bottom of the screen, room height, remember, is the definition of the bottom of the screen, then I'm going to be able to jump to the point +4 relative on the Y. And then, of course, my up, my W, is going to test, double click. My Y is going to then make sure it's greater than 49. Just a reminder, if you haven't been watching the videos, write this down. The top left position in the room is 0, 0. So the highest you can go in the room and still be able to be in the room is 0, and all the way to the left is 0. And then all the way to the bottom is room height. All the way to the right is room width. So let me just show you what that looks like so I can play my game here. And Brianna mentioned she was really excited about the animations of the propeller. You can see I can move left and right, but I can't go off the screen. I can go to the bottom and I can go up. So as I go up, my Y position is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Um, Depending on where your plane starts in the room, you might not be able to get to the absolute edge of a room, but this is going to work out really well. So the next thing I want to do is I want to be able to set up my plane to be able to shoot. So I'm going to add an event, and I need to create and set up a new variable. And this variable is going to be a Boolean. And a Boolean can only be one of two options, which is, if you said true and false, you're amazing. So I'm going to set can shoot, and by default, when we first start, I want it to be true. So I want to be able to shoot. I also want to be able to spell. So I'm going to go can shoot now is equal to true. So when I add an event, I'm going to go ahead and set up the space bar. So I'm going to say key pressed and space. So I only want this to happen when I first press the space key. So key pressed, and then I'm going to test to make sure can shoot is true. And if it is, can shoot is equal to true, then I'm going to have my my player be able to do something. But I've got to set something up first. I don't have a bullet. So I'm going to go over to objects, and I'm going to create an object. I'm going to assign it a sprite. You can see I've done a little bit of work behind the scenes. So here's my player bullet, and give it a name, OBJ player bullet. And I'm going to add an event, which is when it's first created. Now, one of the things that I'm going to try to do is use the least number of actions here. So I could set a direction and I could set a speed, but I'm going to do that both using only one action, and that's I'm going to set the speed and I'm going to set the vertical speed. So vertical, remember, is up and down. I did the same thing over here when I made the background move. Remember I set the vertical speed here to 2 to make the background move? Well, you can do that in objects too. So I'm going to set the vertical speed and I'm moving up. So I'm going up on the screen. Remember, position 0, 0 is at the top left. So I'm going to set this to a negative number. So I'm going to say -4. And when this is created, it's going to move up at 4 pixels per step. By the way, let me just show you something real quick. In GameMaker 2, the default frames per second or room speed is actually defaulted to 60. So one times room speed is actually um, 60 frames per second. So if you're used to using steps, in GameMaker 1.4, we use 30 steps per second. Well, now it's going to be 60. So that'll make things move about twice as fast. And you'll notice that if you try to recreate something in GameMaker, you're like, man, my clown is flying around the room. Well, that's because he's moving at twice the speed, because instead of updating 30 times a second, it's updating 60. All right, so I have this set, and eventually my bullet's going to go off the room unless it hits an enemy. So I'm going to go ahead and add an event and do something about that. So if something originates in the room, there's a special event that you can use to destroy it, and that's outside room. So if it's originated inside of the room, if you do this for something that starts outside of the room, like our planes are gonna, you're gonna destroy the plane before it even becomes part of the game. But if it's guaranteed to start inside the room, you can have an event that says outside the room, and that's when you can trash it. So we're gonna destroy ourselves. And again, this is the bullet. We're gonna destroy ourselves when we leave the room. So now I'm gonna go back to my plane. When the key press, you can see GameMaker's pretty slick. It moves around. It's way more visual than 1.4. There are some downgrades, and I'll talk about those in another video. But okay, so we can shoot. If that is true, when we push the space key, we're going to create an instance of our player bullet. We're going to do it at 0, 0 relative, which means it's going to come from the center of our plane, because I did center my plane. So 0, 0 is the middle of it. I do want it to be on the instances layer. It may do something funny, but we'll fix that later, because I don't want this video to get too long. And that should work. Then I don't want to have infinite shooting ability. So I'm going to go ahead and set can shoot to false, which will mean now we won't be able to create a bullet, but I'm going to fix that in just a moment. And we're going to use an alarm. So the alarm countdown is 30. So I think that's a half second, and I think that's going to work for us. So I'm going to leave that just like that, because I think if I did 60, then that'd be a full second, and I think that would be too much. So then I'm going to add an event, alarm 0, and let's see, alarm 0 is right there, and I want to set can shoot back to true. So can shoot back to true. Now I probably have missed something here, so let's find out. So I'm going to go ahead and run my game, and I'm going to hit the space key, and you can see it created a bullet. Um, and if I hold down, you can see, I got lucky. I got everything on the first try. Waiting, I'm excited to find out that my video or my audio didn't record, and that's going to be really sad, because this is one of the longer videos I've done. But everything is working. I've got a plane. It stays in the room. I can shoot, but I can't, like, I don't have infinite power. No, I feel pretty good about that. And there's a whole bunch of information that is going to be on your quiz. So we talked about X being the left and right position, Y being up and down. We know that the origin of the room is at position 0, 0. We used room width and room height as variables in order to keep our object in the room. We talked about vertical speed, horizontal speed, of course, if you want something to move left to right, which we won't do a lot in this game. Um, Let me just go back. An animated sprite, remember, has the underscore strip and then the number of frames. So for example, an explosion here has 6 frames. So it's underscore strip 3. And one thing that I haven't talked about is what these file types are. So in game design, if I go to properties, typically you're going to see that all of your images are PNG files. And it doesn't matter if you're using GameMaker, Godot, um, Unity, Unreal. PNG stands for Portable Network Graphic, and that is the type of file that you are going to use, I think exclusively, but I don't want to make such a bold statement. So anyways, this is a longer video. I had a lot of fun, and I'm really excited about the fact that I was able to do it correctly the first try. So again, thanks for watching. Hopefully I won't find out that I forgot to enable audio or something like that, because I just might have to cry. And I won't do that on camera though. Thanks for watching, and that's it.